everyone, welcome back. So today I have a really exciting video. It's all about the Lorac Mega Pro 4 palette. This was just released this week on Lorac's website. It's a holiday palette. It retails for $59. If you have been a fan of the Lorac Mega palettes, I know every holiday season they come out with a new one. It's really fun because there are 16 matte shades in these palette and 16 shimmer shades. Now I did notice looking at this palette when I opened it up, there were some repeats that I have seen in previous Lorac palettes. I do have two other of the Mega Pro palettes. I think I'm missing, I have the 3 and then the original, and so I'm missing the 2. Let me tell you, this one is the original, and when this first came out, it was literally crazy. I think they only released it on Amazon's website, maybe Lorac's website and Amazon. Those were the only places you could get it, and it was seriously nuts. Seriously nuts. But let me just show you what the original looked like. This is the original. Had a lot more of the deeper, darker shades in it. So that's the original. And then this white packaging one is the Mega 3. And this one is a lot more neutral, had a lot of neutral shades in it. I mean, basically the whole palette is like browns, neutrals, and there's only like one, a pomegranate shade, which was a repeat. I don't have the number 2 like I said, but then this is what the inside of the 4 looks like. So like I said, there are a few repeat shades that I do see in these palettes. I did get a chance to use a few of the shades. I did have a little bit of problems with one of the shades that I used. When I topped it with a darker color, it kind of blended away and got a little bit patchy. But besides that, the formula of these are pretty consistent with the Pro formula. If you've ever tried any of the Lorac Pro eyeshadow shades, they're very powdery, but they're super pigmented, and they typically blend really, really well. So that's what I love about them. I love some of my Lorac Pro eyeshadow palettes. Number 1 has always been like my favorite palette. Let me just read you some of the information because this palette was sent to me from Lorac, so thank you so much. It says it's a Holiday 2017 Mod Goddess campaign palette. We wanted you to have the very first look. It will be sold at Ulta Beauty and on our website. So those would be the 2 places that you can get it. It says that it's available on September 17th at Ulta.com and then at Ulta in-store the last week of September. I do believe it launched on, I'm filming this video on September 13th, and I do believe it launched today on Lorac Cosmetics website. So if you did want to get it right now, you could get it there. If you wanted to buy it through Ulta, you're gonna have to wait till the 17th. It says that these shades are all brand new. When I'm reading this thing, it says that we're feeling rather pretty and made our palette millennial pink, which I do love the color, this like blush color of the palette. My only problem is I'm like such a sloppy Joe and I get things everywhere. So, but anyways, it says they're all brand new and beautiful, but I feel like I've seen the shade Mocha before. I feel like I've seen the shade Misty Mauve before, and Silver Fox I think has come in another one, and I swear I've seen the shade Peacock before. So I'm not quite sure. Like, I'm just gonna do a really quick glance through these other palettes to see if I see any of the same shade names. Now, it could be quite possible that it was the same shade name and not the same shade color. So I don't see anything in the Mega 3 that says that any of those shade names, but maybe I'm like just thinking things. No, I guess I don't see any of the repeats in the palette. Okay, so maybe these are all new shades. I swore those names sounded very familiar. Now maybe I'm just thinking of something else. But the top 2 rows are all matte shades. The bottom 2 rows are all shimmer. Let's get to swatching. If you are interested in seeing a look with this palette on the eyes, I will leave this look that I created on my eyes at the very end of the video for those of you who are still interested in seeing a look. you can wait till the end of the video, and if you are someone who's not interested, you can just click out if you just want to see swatches. Now I am swatching these on my hand, so I know a lot of people like brush swatches, and yes, I agree with you, brush swatches are really great, but right now I just want to show you the colors and how they swatch. Like I said, I've applied these eyeshadows on before. They're the same consistency throughout the palettes typically, and so I'm not going to apply all of them on my eyes or do brush swatches. I'm just going to do finger swatches, but if you do want to see how they do apply, watch till the end of the video. And like I said, this one shade down here, really shimmery shade, it did blend away, and then I had to go back in and use like a Fix Plus type of a spray and put it on my eyes, and then it stayed after that. But when I went to add the darker color prior to using the Fix Plus, it sort of blended away when I put that darker color in the crease. But anyways, I really do like this look. The only thing I will say right off the bat about this palette is it seems more like springy than it is wintry in my opinion, but it's still super beautiful shades. So let's just go ahead and get into the swatching so that you can see these shades. Okay, so the first two rows, like I said, are both matte shades. So it looks like we have like a white, and then this like flamingo is like a light pink, and then we have this says Cool Taupe, but it's just like a cream color, and then butterscotch is like a little bit more of a tan, cedar is like a deep cool tone brown, this is mocha is a warm tone sort of brown, and then we have denim, which is like a matte, really pretty denim color, denim blue color, and then shadow, which is almost like a gray, like a deeper gray but not a black. So I'm just going to go ahead and swatch these shades and I will show them to you. I mean, they're super duper pigmented and buttery, so they do swatch really well, and these Lorac Pro eyeshadows always apply extremely pigmented. Like they swatch and apply to the eye just that same way. That's one of the things that I absolutely love about the Lorac shades, is that they have that consistency throughout the palette. So here are the swatches of the eyeshadows. You can see these deeper, darker shades. This blue is absolutely gorgeous. If I were really into blues, I would be like using that one a ton. That just, I mean, that one actually calls to me a lot. These lighter shades, I mean, they aren't quite as pigmented. This shade right here is going to be a great transition color. So anyways, really, really beautiful. I mean, they swatch, and like I said, they perform just like all of the Pro shades do. They blend really, really nicely and layer very nicely. Okay, next row we have Pink Peony, which is like, doesn't even look pink at all. It doesn't really have a pink hue in my opinion. And then we have this kind of cool tone transition color. This is called Oat. Light Sage, which is like almost like a seafoam matte green shade. Sugar Cookie, which looks also sort of like a little bit more cool tone shade than this green, but it still has like a little bit of a green tint to it. Then we have Mahogany and Blackberry, which are like a lighter and darker version of like just a very pretty sort of like mahogany shades, and like this Blackberry is a really pretty like deeper, darker with like a hint of almost like purpley deep plum undertones. And then we have Spice, which is a really warm tone brown shade, and then Dark Chocolate, which is a deep dark cool tone, almost like deep blackened brown. So again, I'm just gonna swatch these. I mean, ugh, so pretty and buttery. This Sugar Cookie color is really beautiful. It almost has like a little bit of a sheen to it. Just this all over the lid. I think that's beautiful. Those are the last three shades. Here are those swatched on the hand. That Spice shade is absolutely beautiful. The consistency of these, just even swatching them, I used these two in my look today, and they're blended beautifully. Okay, moving into the two rows with shimmer in it, we have like a light sort of champagne color right here in Foam, Honey, which is like a golden shade, Real Pearl Slate, which is almost like a taupey color, Moss, which is a really beautiful, almost like grass green shade. We have Steel Wool, which kind of looks like a sort of shimmery teal, and copper pearl, which doesn't really look that copper to me. It's almost like a bronze shade. Peacock, which is a really beautiful blue shade, and then Lagoon, which is almost like this deep aqua teal shade. So let's just start swatching these. That green shade is one that I'm like looking forward to. Oh, those are so pretty. I love how you get the deeper, darker shades and you can do, you know, deepen up, and then you have like a bunch of lid shades. I mean, this is just that one of those palettes that I think a lot of people who are looking for just one type of palette to use will get a lot of use out of these Mega Pro palettes. There are those last 3 shades and that's swatched, and then I will put them on my hand and show you. This is just a really, really beautiful, beautiful teal shade. Okay, here they are. This steel wool shade I think is definitely like a standout to me. These shades are really, really beautiful. Even right here, like look at that shade. I love these. Like I can, very, very inspired is what I will say from these shades. Okay, this last row is very like pinky and light and beautiful to me. This shade right here in Unicorn. Then we have Lotus, which is almost like a frosty plum shade. Fairy Tale, which I have on my lid today, is almost like a silvery bluish shade or purple shade. Misty Mauve, which is like a shimmery mauve shade. And then we have Silver Fox, which is like almost a taupe. And then Plum. And we have Vamp, which is like a very shimmery purpley, deep, deep sort of purple slate shade. And then we have Raven, which is like a black shimmer. So let me just start swatching these. And this one can be applied wet and it just really brings out the shine. I mean, that shade right there is just a major standout in my opinion. That's a beautiful shade. And then here are the last 3 shades right there in the palette. I love that purple shade. So here are those, very, very purple and beautiful. I love all of the shades in this row. I especially love the shade Vamp. All of these shades are super pretty and right up my alley. They have enough shimmer to them. They're just beautiful lid shades. Overall, my thoughts on the palette are, I think it's beautiful. I really liked the way it performed. I like the look that it created. When I look at the palette, I feel very inspired. There are a lot of shades in here that I think that I'm personally drawn to. I'm really drawn to this moss shade, this steel wool shade. I'm really drawn to those, and then I think these would be beautiful pairings with the matte pairing in the crease. I think that this palette's laid out beautifully because there are a lot of great transition shades, but there are also those greater, deeper matte shades, and then there's just a great array of the shimmer shades, which I like to call the lid shades. So when I look at this palette, I'm like, oh, I want to do a look with this color. I want to do a look with this color. I want to do a look with this color and this color. Like, I just have so much inspiration looking at this palette, and that's kind of what I take. So honestly, when I first opened it up and I first looked at it, I was kind of like, I don't know. But then swatching them and really looking at them, I feel super inspired. Like I said, they said that there are 16 new shimmer and 16 new matte. So even though I thought that a few of them were repeats, I guess not. And they do look very different in the shades from the previous Pro palettes, the Mega Pro palettes that I do own. So if you already own the other ones, you might just be someone who every year you like to collect these. I think that this is a beautiful palette. I personally love the pink packaging. I think it's really, really pretty. So those are my thoughts on the palette. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing that. Let me know if you plan on getting the palette down below. I'm always curious as to, like, I know a few people who are like every year they're just waiting to see what the Mega Pro palette looks like because it's like their one thing that they pick up every year when the holiday comes around. So let me know if you're that person or if you're someone who's just seeing the Mega Pro palette for the first time and you're like, have to have it, or if you're like, oh, I think I'll pass. So I'd love to hear down below. If you are interested in seeing this look on the eyes, then go ahead and keep watching. If not, subscribe before you leave. I'd love to have you as part of my family, and don't forget to hit the notification bell because that's going to alert you in your email box of future videos. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let's go ahead and get into the tutorial, and then if you're checking out now, I'll see you all in the next video. Okay, first I started out priming my eyes with a little bit of concealer, and then I used this shade called Cool Taupe. I mean, it's definitely not a cool taupe. I have no idea where they come up with these shade names. It's just like an ivory color, and I just set my base with that. Then for my transition, I'm going in with this shade called Oat. It was a nice cool tone light transition color, so I just put that through a crease with this. This is like a Sephora Precision blending brush, I think is the name of it. Then I'm going in with the shade Mocha, which is a little bit deeper of a brown, and just kind of running that a little bit through the crease right over that Oat shade, just to deepen it up a little bit. Then to really deepen up the outer corners before we go in the lid shade, I'm going to go in with this shade called Blackberry. This is a Sigma E45 brush, and I'm just taking this and blending that on the outer corner in a little V, and then dragging it a little bit through the crease, but mainly concentrating it on the outer corners. So I do go back in with this shade a few times, and one of the times I mix a little bit of the mahogany shade with it, but mainly it's just this Mocha shade, which is like a deep dark, almost like plummy color. This shade is called Fairy Tale. It was beautiful. So first I put it on just completely dry, which it went on really, really great. I mean, it's super vibrant and beautiful. It's not like it needed to be wet. However, when I went in with my outer corner shade right here, you'll see, as I started blending that outer corner shade to just kind of clean everything up, you see how it like got patchy, and like the shadow, the product of that Fairy Tale was like almost like blending away in my crease. Like, look. So then I had to go in with a Fairy Tale color on a wet, I just like wet my finger and pressed it back on. So that worked a whole lot better to apply it wet. It stayed when I went back in to kind of blend out that Fairy Tale shade, or the, not the Fairy Tale shade, but the Blackberry shade. So I recommend getting that shade wet, or you might have some trouble with it blending away. So here I'm just going in with a black liquid liner. This is from M Cosmetics. I'm just doing a small wing. I went ahead with the rest of my makeup, which I will leave linked down below. For my lower lash line, I'm going to use the shade Mocha again and just blend that on the lower lash line. And this is a MAC pencil brush that I'm using here. And then I'm going to take that Fairy Tale shade again that we have on our lid, and I'm going to wet the brush and dip back into that, just so that I don't get fallout, and also so that it stays. So I'm going mainly on the inner portion of my eye. On the outer corner, I just left it with that Mocha shade. For my inner corner, I'm going with a shade called Unicorn, which is like this very light pale color, like a, what's the shade? Lavenderish color. It has like a little bit of a duochrome. So that is the finished look. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave your comments down below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Mwah.